Internet girlfriend.
This is my first time posting here, but I have been following the subreddit for a while now. The year is 2003. I'm a 15-year-old boy and living in a small city. This is a place where everyone seems to know everyone. I am typically shy and often use the internet as a way to meet people. During this time, the instant messenger ICQ was still pretty popular amongst the teens in my area. I would often stay up late adding new people and chatting with them. I would do this by searching by city and adding people I knew from school. This is how I met her. Her name was Sarah. We began chatting innocently enough, the normal, "Hey, what's up?" sort of deal. Now, Sarah was self-described 17-year-old girl. Short, brown hair, and nerdy. We hit it off pretty fast. We had so much in common I found it easy to open up to her, although I thought it was strange that I had never seen her in school. I go to the Christian school, explaining why I had never seen her. We continue chatting for some time and I eventually give her my home phone number. We chat regularly over the phone until she eventually asks, "Would you like to hang out sometime?" Without hesitation, we make plans for me to go over to her house, hang out and watch movies. The day finally comes for us to hang out. I make my way across town to the address she gave me. It's a small apartment building. Slightly confused on how she and the rest of her family would fit into such a small apartment, I make my way up the stairs. I knock and am immediately greeted at the door by a woman, maybe in her late 20s or early 30s. I knew this was Sarah, but she didn't look anything like she described. I was instantly weirded out, but followed her into her small one-bedroom apartment. I stupidly asked, "So are your parents home?" She laughed. "No, it's just me here." I'm now sitting awkwardly on the couch. "Do you drink?" She's looking at me across the room. "Water," I joke. We both share an awkward laugh as she pours me a glass of wine. I never take a sip of it. She sits close to me after popping in a bootleg copy of Finding Nemo. "My brother got this for me while it was still in theaters. He's like a hacker or something." She giggles. At this point, she's very close to me. I'm uncomfortable, and being the weirdo I am, I shift to the floor. I'm now sitting on the floor with my back up against the couch. She then straddles me from behind. "You look so tense." She begins rubbing my back. "I'm really good at this. I can make you feel so good." I lean forward. "Thanks, but you don't need to do that. I'm fine." I explain that I should be going, and she points to her bedroom. "You can stay the night. I've never had a guy stay in my bed." She keeps making sexual advances, telling me how she hasn't had sex in so long and she wants to meet a nice guy like me. All the while, she keeps touching my arms and face. Now, at this point in my life, I was still a virgin, but this lady was not going to be the one to change that. I talk my way out of the situation and head home. The next few days I get several messages telling me that she misses me and she's sorry. Eventually I cave and respond to one of her messages. I asked her why she lied and what her deal is. She tells me she has a hard time meeting friends and that she doesn't like people her own age. I feel bad, forgive her, and we make plans to talk in person. Here I am at my last encounter with Sarah. I ride my bike over to her apartment. Once inside, I am greeted not only by her, but her parents too. They introduce themselves. Finally, we get to meet Sarah's boyfriend. Her dad jokes, "We've heard so much about you." She's always going on and on about how great you are. Her mom follows up. In my head, I'm freaking out. I am not this girl's boyfriend. Sarah grabs my hand and laces our fingers. She looks so happy. Her parents are just stopping over to pick something up and were actually on their way out the door when I showed up. If I was going to get out of here, now would be the chance. I grabbed the box her mom was about to pick up. "I'll take that down for you." Her mom smiles. "You're a keeper." I help her parents load the box into their SUV and hop on my bike. I was just swinging by to say hi. I should probably get home. Sarah wraps her arms around me and kisses my cheek. I ride home confused and plan on never talking to that girl again. She dropped me a few messages I never responded to. She called the landline a few times, but we never spoke. I don't know whatever happened to her. I don't know why her parents didn't question my age, or if they were just okay with it.
Vicarious stalking.
This encounter happened in college. I was a resident advisor, and one of my residents came to me about her creepy ex-boyfriend. He also went to our school and had been harassing her. We had been trained as RAs on how to deal with some issues. I talked her through it and advised her to save all messages but not respond back. With her permission, I called the dean of students on call and the head of the dorm. It took some sorting out, but he ended up taking a leave of absence. The stalking was just the tip of the iceberg of some clear mental health issues. Things started looking up, but then one night my resident comes in the suite and says he has been texting her and that he's back and he's going to force his way into the dorm. We lock the doors and try to come up with a plan. Not long, someone bangs very hard on the door and keeps knocking. It was him. Without opening the door, I advised him I would call the cops if he didn't leave. He left. We weren't really sure if he actually left the building though. It's a huge dorm. Then my resident's phone starts getting calls from a number. It's the guy's mother. The mom is yelling at my resident and accusing her of a bunch of random and unfounded things. The mom won't stop calling, so we call A&T and ask them to block the number. This is before smartphones. A few of my residents' friends come over and take her back to her dorm room. They will stay with her. Seeing that everything is okay, I head out for the evening to hang out. But an hour or so later, my phone is blowing up with calls. It's the guy's mom. How did she get my number? She said I was to blame for her son getting a leave of absence, and she knew where I lived. She threatened me a few times, and she said she was on campus. I hung up and kept ignoring the number. It was pretty late at this point, and I'm realizing I'm at an area of the campus that isn't very populated, and I'm freaking out. I decide it's better to get back to the dorm for my safety and check on my resident. When I get there, my resident is crying but appears safe. I ask what happened. Turns out the guy tried to hang himself that night in his old dorm room. He survived, but I never got the full story of how it went down. He got the help he needed after that, but the mom kept calling me every week for a while. I never answered, but I was terrified of what she might do to me, all for just being a good RA. A lot of creepy things happened when I was an RA.
You want my shoes? Why?
Creepy just seems to follow me. I had to run to the local corner store for milk and gas. It was in February and in Minnesota, and that's cold. I was wearing a heavy jacket, hat, and mittens, but in my rush, I just threw on my favorite slip-on Minnetonka moccasins. Leaving the store, a man approached me. This was a smaller sized town, so at first I wasn't afraid at all. Just thought he needed directions or something. I should have known immediately something was up because his first sentence was, "This is going to sound odd, but..." He proceeded to tell me that he was trying to play a prank on a friend. Yeah, sure. And wondered if I might sell him my shoes. I think I blinked twice as the reality of the situation sunk in. "You want my shoes?" Sorry, but no," I said as he stepped closer. He was between me and my car, so I attempted to step around him, and he stepped in front of my car and put his hand on the car handle and said, "Look, I just really need your shoes." I locked eyes with him and told him the first thing I was going to do was stab him in the eyes with my keys, and then I would scream as loud as I could if he didn't back away from the car. I took one step towards him. Probably not smart. He called me a selfish bastard and walked away. I cannot tell you how many times I've been asked how much he was willing to pay for my shoes. And before anyone here asks, I didn't let it get that far, and it would not have mattered. There was not a time when I went back to that store and didn't look around and worry that he would be there.